I was listening to my MP3 player today and realised I didn't mention my dad's music in the Click Empire analysis at all, which is a bit harsh, because I used his songs in almost every video I made that year. 2023 was quite a year for my dad's music. He released 79 songs across 4 different albums, all of them on screen right now. At one point I was going to make a music video for each album he released, kind of like I did with Deep in Thought back in 2022, but it soon became apparent that I just couldn't keep up. He makes a new song every few days, though I'd still like to give my favourite ones their own music videos. In case you hadn't figured it out, this song, Caboosing, the one you all love, is about a train and contains lots of train-esque sounds. And I envision its music video to be a first-person view of the train tracks in Red Dead Redemption 2. I just need to figure out a way of latching myself onto the front of a train now. It's going to involve the most ridiculous train heist ever seen in that game. Anyway, the first album released in 2023 was Wingwalker, which headlined with Spaceport Southwest, to celebrate a rocket being launched from just a few dozen miles away from where my dad lives. He pushed hard to get this album out in time for this major achievement, but then the launch failed and the hype died down. I suggested he ended the song with an explosion, but he didn't do that. I personally dislike albums that are named after one of the tracks within it, because if you don't like that track, then what hope do the other songs on the album have? Obviously it doesn't work that way, and my personal favourites from this album are Do Itself, which is named after a phrase I used to say when I was very young. Diggory 2 makes me realise I need to make my own Deus Ex style game, and then to get my dad to make all the music for it. Faster Faster is a fun track too, and Rum and Sunshine finally sees my dad's alter ego, Boog Marley, release his first banger. The second album of the year, Nice One Dad, forgoes the usual album cover style where I Photoshop my dad into a silly position, and instead uses a painting he made like 51 years ago. If anyone is red-green colourblind, then you'll be seeing this just like my dad does. My dad asked me to name a number of the tracks on this album, and I'm not sure if the album is just better in general or if me having to think up the names for them has made me fonder of the tracks in some way, but I especially like this album. But if I had to pick some favourite songs from it, I'd choose A flat and A minor and A New Colour Is Born. Sweeping Those Exploding Buns is an inside joke about an episode of Sooty & Co, and track 20 is a play on Till I Come, and made much more sense when it was number 12 on this album. The third album, From My Imagination, is another artwork of my dad's. He made a bunch of paintings like this one, all in fictional woodland settings, and he always put a bunny hidden somewhere in the image. You can see it just here on this one. There was one time he forgot to add one when he painted a picture for a friend and they spent God knows how long trying to find something that doesn't exist. In this album, I Love My Cat is my clear favourite track, and I can't wait to do a montage of Fluffykins in silly poses for the music video for it. But there's also a remake of Jupiter 8 on this album, which is one of my favourite songs he made back in the 80s. He gave me the MIDI version of this song and I attempted to make my own version to include on Audio Crime 2, being another remake of some sort, but I found it a lot harder to modify someone else's song than I did my own, and my album had already been delayed by about 10 years, so I didn't bother doing it in the end. Also, I think I'm Fired Again is the best song name I've ever heard, and this isn't one that I've named, so I'm allowed to say that. And finally, my dad's fourth album of the year was There Is a Future, and this is the album my sister generated the cover image for. Truth be told, I haven't had a lot of chance to listen to these songs. They came out in December, which is a busy month for me, and I was too engaged with my own album's release. And yes, Tubby Lard Bells really does sound like a fat version of Tubular Bells to me. My dad is unstoppable. His first album for 2024, Funky Hen, has just been released, and he's already hard at work on the next few. I actually got to check out his laptop he's using over Christmas, and it's a 13-year-old dual-core thingy. It's so slow, he has to save every layer as he goes to free up more processing space for the next one that he works on, which he does without complaint. I mean, clearly he should just go and buy a new laptop, but I think I suffer from knowing this more than he does, as he seems perfectly happy with making music on this laptop, and with music making in general, so much so that he's got it sussed. I'm envious. He's got a hobby that he loves, that he thinks about all the time and that he shares with others. He's active on Twitter. He was very against signing up to that platform out of principle, which I respect, but I still encouraged him to try it, and I think he's loved having some kind of place to chat with people on. So if you like his songs or have a question about the instruments or ridiculous workflow that he uses, then give him a message there. It'll mean a lot to him.